welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy at the request of Patreon subscriber Brendan. And Brendan asked me to play a spiky deck of my choice. And this is a deck that has been putting up results in tournaments and nobody else asked me to play. And it's something I want to feature. So here we go. This is the old combo Elves style build of Nadu. Don't really know what to call this. It's not Zenith Nadu. That's the mid-range one. Chord Nadu. Nadu Elves is mostly genuine. There are a bunch of elves in the deck. I don't know. But it's this build of the deck. We've got 4 Zeniths and 4 Chords. And the Chord is very important because one of my critiques of the kind of mid-range build of Nadu Zenith is that you can't Zenith for Nomad. And that makes it hard to combo. But Chord of Calling can get creatures of any color. And you could grab it at instant speed. And you could do stuff like use Springheart and Tuco plus Fetch Land as a kind of dark ritual that gets Chord going faster. This just looks more like the modern Super Sendy combo build that we saw before this deck got banned in Modern. For instance, Zenith was already banned in Modern, though. They never had access to this. Basically, what we're trying to do is get Nadu Winged Wisdom into play with Nomad's Encore. Then you can target your creatures 2 times per turn for free on your turn and their turn, and you can flip resources until you hit Springheart and Tuco, and then every land you flip creates another 1/1 that you can target 2 times. And then if every other card in your deck or more is a land, you just get to go forever. And once you get the second Nantuko, because this is the full 4, this is a fully dedicated combo construction of this. The second Nantuko, each land then flips 4 cards, and it just becomes much easier to do. This build does have the full infinite combo. If you bestow Springheart and Nantuko onto Endurance, and then use Sylvan Safekeeper to sacrifice all your lands and target all of your creatures with the abilities. As those lands flip back into play off the Nadu, you could just keep copying Endurance and keep tucking the lands back into your deck. And that's an infinite mana loop, which gets you to the point where you get to cast Emrakul the Aeon Storm. Though you don't have to do that, which is lucky because I'm executing this on Magic Online where that's very frustrating. You can just flip into your 4 copies of Gaia's Cradle as you do normal Nadu stuff. Make sure to float mana when you can, because once you flip the next one, the legend rule applies. There's not a moment to float mana in between. And it should be pretty trivial to get 15 mana once you're doing your thing. Allosaurus Shepherd is your protection. Green spells can't be countered. And every spell in the deck, except for Nomad and Emrakul, are green. And Emrakul naturally can't be countered. And Nomad frequently is a green spell indirectly. This list takes me back to the 2010-2011 era of playing Legacy combo Elves. Back then we had to Chord of Calling for Mirror Entity to go off. Craterhoof Behemoth hadn't been printed yet. The Natural Order Shell hadn't been solved yet because there was nothing to Natural Order for it. You had to get Mirror Entity, spend mana into it to make Wirewood Symbiote into an elf so it could bounce itself, and then that created an infinite loop with Heritage Druid. This deck is built like that deck, except this combo is much better. Combo Elves took a huge beating when Plague Engineer was printed, but that's not really part of the format anymore. Combo Elves took a second beating when Orcish Bowmaster was printed, but this build doesn't draw cards. We're not using Glimpse of Nature, we're using Nadu, so we don't have to worry about that so much. This is a cool intersection of a very old deck that got obsoleted multiple times, being rejuvenated by a new card. And in my humble opinion, that is what Modern Horizon set should do. I want to see fringe archetypes empowered rather than new archetypes created. And that is obviously too good for Modern, but if there's a place for it, it's Legacy. And if there's a home for it, it's this deck. I'm pretty excited to do this. Let's get into it. This is Nadu Elves, Chord, Zenith, whatever we're calling this, from Brendan. I'm on the play in round 1. Hand's great. I'm in. Keep it. I can ram a turn 2 Nadu if that seems appropriate to do, or I can take my time, build out Nantuko, set up a Chord. And there are not actually elf strategies in the deck. I'm going to lead on Llanowar Elves because that one is worse than Noble Hierarch. And we'll see what happens. Fetching my basic is fine there. There's one basic. I have Hierarch and Windswept Heath that can access blue for the Nadu. If we get to that point, Chrome Mox. Uh-oh. Scalding Tarn, Chrome Mox. We might just die. That's disappointing. The real combo deck has entered the chat. Yeah, Chrome Mox pitching Song of Creation. They're over there. They're cooking. We're about to get echoed. What's my sideboard for this? I was so excited. My hand was really good. We've got Deafening Silence, Mindbreak Trap, and Collector Oof with the 8 ways to tutor it. All right. Burning Wish. This can get Echo. If they did not get Echo, they're going to get Beseech and just win. That works too. That's better than Echoing. And me without a Daze. I'm just 5 creatures short of Chord for Endurance, though. So close. They Beseeched for Beseech. The next one's going to get Gaia's Will. And then they can play LED. Did they mess this up? Oh no, they have exactly enough to go. Oh no. Yeah, the Chrome Mox doesn't get to imprint, but it is exactly 4 mana. Okay. They didn't mess it up. I was excited for 1 second. Okay. You did it. Mindbreak Trap comes in. Deafening Silence comes in. Collector Oof comes in. There's options on Endurance. Those will cut off Gaia's Will lines, but they have plenty of lines that don't use Gaia's Will. Endurance is in the maybe pile. I'm going to shave some of the worst mana dorks, whatever I determine those to be. Springheart and Antuco could shave. I want all of my tutor pieces. I don't want to cut too many dorks because being able to Zenith for 2 on turn 2 and get Collector Oof is important. Allosaurus Shepherd doesn't matter. And maybe leaving Halfling in, cutting Shepherd is the way to go here. And this is a creature in the deck in terms of building out for Chord and stuff, but they're not going to counter my spells. That's not part of the game. Rangers, mana, Safekeepers, my combo. Do I want any more Endurances? I have the definite cards covered here. Elvish Herder. This game's not going to get grindy. And they're not going to surgical extract my Nomads either. They don't really need a backup. That gets me 1 more Endurance. Oh, there is 1 Elf synergy. I said there wasn't any, but Birchler Ranger actually does care about Elves. I think I'm going to shave Birchler Ranger. Birchler Ranger is also color fixing in a pinch, though, if I need to cast Deafening Silence. I think I have enough of those. I'm going to leave 1 Endurance in the board and go with this. God, that hand was so good. Of course we'd queue into the turn 1 combo deck. Okay, I'll keep this hand. This has a turn 2 Collector Oof, and I can Endurance to survive if I need to. Savannah, Llanowar Elves. The line here, even if I don't draw a land, is I play Quarian Ranger, float mana, bounce Savannah, float mana, play Savannah. That's 3, and I can Chord for, or Zenith for 2. Okay, they are just ramming again. Let's hope they go through the graveyard. And now if they are on an Echo line, I at least have the option of spinning into Trap. Brainstorm. They pitched Veil of Summer, which is correct, because I certainly don't play counter spells. Elves decks historically have been Golgari for discard postboard, so that makes some sense to still have them around. It's not what my deck's doing, but they didn't know that. Brainstorm, Fetchland, Found Taiga, Burning Wish. What do we got? Void Snare. Okay, so they're gearing up to bounce my Collector Oof, but they will need blue mana to do that. Quarian Ranger, make 3 mana. Zenith for Oof. Okay. Somewhat useful here. If they have a blue land. Oh, they did, but it's tapped. All right, I'm going to get a turn here to operate. I'd love to draw a blue source and go off here. We're so close. No, not a blue source. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could Chord for 2. I could Chord for more. I could tap this for mana. Float mana, untap this. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could Chord for 3, but then I can't play Nomads also. What can I do here? Oh, I could Chord for Safekeeper in response to their Void Snare and just assemble the lock. Okay, Forest, Nomad. Oh wait, Nomad's free because of Chord. I'm just like mathing terribly here. So if I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, untap 6, I can put Nadu into play right now. Okay. Yeah. Oh, wait. Is that true? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's true. All right. Untap Llanowar Elves. Chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, chord math. 1-drops are free. That's how chord works. Start spamming. This is at minimum 10 looks at Mindbreak Trap if nothing else happens. There's Deafening Silence. All right, just got to flip a white source into play, and they'll be in trouble. Cool. Let you know I have Savannah in my deck. Probably shouldn't have done that because I might just win this turn. Okay, they've had enough. We did it. That was fun. Now I'm on the draw where it's Mindbreak Trap or bust. I did not reveal an endurance that game. The thing I mentioned of Birchlore Ranger fixing color actually almost mattered there. Like I didn't have blue, and then I had to flip into white to cast Deafening Silence, but it still was fine. We were over the hump. I will play the same deck. There's an argument to put in the Endurance and the other 2 Force of Vigorous and just put in as many 0-mana interactive spells as you can, just in case you have the opportunity to do anything ever. Or I can play to a game where I'm going to get 1 turn and build my deck accordingly. You down with MBT? You know me. I will keep my hand and hope that they just heckin' send it. The big punish is if they just go LED Echo. Oh no, they've mulled to 4. LED Echo is actually a really likely line at this point. Kind of preferred the have 6 or 7 cards to these 4. Now I'm worried. Though if they go like Lotus Petal LED Echo, they're in the garbage. Undercity Sewer is tapped. We got a turn. Playing the game. I drew Savannah, which means I can fetch Trop. Opponent is happy to see not Deafening Silence. The Epic Storm has been playing more Thoughtseizes lately than they have in recent years, presumably as a counter to Consigned to Memory, which now most blue decks are playing in large numbers. They have to beat Stifle again rather than just counter spells. Brainstorm, not a fetch land. Brainstorm number 2. Mindbreak Trap is on if they do anything else this turn. This is pretty desperate. I hope they found LED Echo. It looks like they didn't. How do I want to play this? Oh, I could just put Nadu into play. Or I could play Noble Hierarch, Gaia's Cradle, and represent Endurance. Noble Hierarch, Gaia's Cradle. I can't quite chord for Oof. I'm 1 away. I'm not going to attack, because I actually am holding up a real instant. 1 spell. 2 spells. 3 spells. I'm actually going to let them have this. I can just get whatever they get. And then they're 1 deeper, and there's an important payoff card not on the deck anymore. Boop. Can we get a scoop? We can! Alright. After getting dumpstered game 1, we just sideboarded and then we won. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 2 with a turn 4 combo with Allosaurus layup. I'll keep. Oh god, another Lotus Petal matchup. Lotus Petal Pass is suspicious as hell. This is just Reanimator who kept in Doom Reanimate. But even then, what are we doing? Okay, Trop Llanowar Elf is happening. A Lotus Petal Go is so weird. They weren't going to discard the hand size or anything. They could have just had Lotus Petal in their hand. Were they worried about me Thoughtseizing their 1 mana source, and otherwise they're just like 1 piece away from a combo? Is this Oops All Spells who is just a little short? There's the Dark Ritual. We're about to find out what's going on. Thoughtseizing me, sure. Here's my hand, though I suspect it doesn't matter. Took a Nadu. And Entomb with 1 mana floating. What piece was missing last turn? Why didn't this just happen last turn? Did they draw the Dark Ritual? Did they draw the Reanimate? What happened there? Opponent's at 3 life. This fetch would put them to 2. Maybe they'll Thoughtseize me by accident. That would be great. Dark Ritual. Like, this wasn't a strategic turn pass. If their hand did this, they would have done it on turn 1, because Daze, Spell Pierce, Consign to Memory, all this stuff becomes relevant. I don't know. One of those pieces was missing and they hit. Okay. So we are playing against Combo Reanimator. And whether or not I want Swords to Plowshares, always a debate. If they do something like stick an ugly, unprotected Archon of Cruelty, Swords to Plowshares can actually catch me up. If they don't do anything of the sort, or if I just shut them down for real, then I don't have to worry about that. Allosaurus Shepherd once again coming out. Mindbreak Trap is also maybe that goes on the draw, but not on the play. As if they're not like Petal, Ritual, and Tomb Reanimate, then Mindbreak Trap doesn't matter. They could go Swamp and Tomb, Swamp Reanimate, and then that line doesn't work. But the sideboard play is going to be very similar here. I think Collector Roof matters less in this matchup. I'm not trying to harbinge their C's. Do I want Mindbreak Trap? Do I want any number of Swords to Plowshares? Are the remaining questions. I could cut the Herder or a Trap. And Endurance is much better against this deck than it is against Storm, where Mindbreak Trap is much better against Storm than Endurance is. So this isn't exactly the same, though. I think we are going to end up with a lot of the same cards. I could probably cut the Emrakul versus some of these combo decks, where it's like, if I just Endurance them enough times, I can beat them to death with my 3-power creatures. If I'm going to have room for one bonus thing, in addition to the obvious 5 cards, would I want it to be 1 Trap or 1 Plow? I guess I'd rather have 1 Plow. Can I get a second Plow in here? Birchlow Ranger once again. Yeah, this looks familiar. Let's try it. Okay, double Endurance. I'm Thoughtseize proof. I am worried about this 1-lander, but double Endurance, double green card kind of rules. I'm going to get Savannah and play Nomad. Get on this board. Begin the beats. Blue to Delta. Going with Plow over Mindbreak Trap also respects the possibility of a juke if they're just on a creature line. Thoughtseize. Which of my Endurances do you want? Got him! It's going to be a Nomads Encore beatdown situation. Never mind. It's a Llanowar Elves Nomads Encore beatdown situation. That was a pretty good draw, all things considered. Begin my 17-turn clock. Here we go. I am clocking, though. And this Endurance probably checks somewhere between 2 and 5 cards in their hand. If they just have another Thoughtseize, they're going to win. Or if they have actual Unmask, they might win on the spot. But if they win on turn 2 through double Endurance, then they were going to win this game all the time. Yeah, okay. I'm getting Unmasked. They pitched Atraxa to that Unmask. Faithless Looting. Were there more monsters on top of the pitched Atraxa? Borborygmos. Okay, so you've got a full nonsense, shallow grave, goofball style reanimate deck here, which is fine. That sounded really derogatory, but it's also not meant to be. I'm going to bestow onto Nomads, get the extra point in. This is like giving the Springheart and Tuco haste. Right in. Fatal Push. All right, whatever. Nantuko still resolves because Bestow is much more generous than typical aura effects in Magic the Gathering. Borborygmos Enraged, huh? Dark Ritual. Hardcast Unmask. All right, Entomb. 1 card left in hand is going to be the Animate. That actually wins. Yeah, Reanimate. They got Atraxa. Let's see what this does. They found a Shallow Grave. That'll get Borborygmos and clear my board. All right. Yeah, I kept a hand with double free interaction, and they just beat it. You're not going to beat Reanimator when their hand looks like that. On to the next round.
The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit,
The Receivables has it at youtube.com/thereceivables. I'm on the draw for round 3. I have a bunch of mana and a tutor. I'm in. Scalding Tarn. Basic Island Ponder. Okay. Finally, a civilized individual and not some maniac firing lotus petals at me. In before this is show and tell. Nomad is pretty good. That starts to bring my combo together. I'm going to get Tropical Island. If this is a Wasteland deck, it's fine. Llanowar Elves gets me ahead of Wasteland in its own little way. Island can't cast Swords to Plowshares or Lightning Bolt. Plateau can cast both those cards. Okay, so we're getting some kind of Jeskai control. Wrath of the Skies is actually horrifying. Gotta figure out what I'm going to do with that. I can start with Allosaurus Shep. Let's go. It's going to be a pretty big turn. Just have to hope they don't have Wrath of the Skies, or else I'm going to get 3 for 1. Otherwise, I'm going to have a million permanents in play. Okay, go. I'm threatening lethal. I could also cast Nomad here by untapping one of my things, but I don't think that's important to do. Okay, Brainstorms means I can't get Wrath this turn. They could set up a Terminus to flip on my turn with this, but Wrath of the Skies, my number 1 fear, is off the table. I am slightly afraid, though, that my Nomad is counterable. The only counterable card that in my hand is the Nomad. Swords of Plowshares makes everything counterable. Okay. Good interaction. Fetching a Tundra, playing Tamiyo. All right, 3 cards left over there. Let's see if they have the Force. Because if they don't, I'm going to have the Nadu. They hesitated on that, which doesn't inspire confidence. Okay. Chord for 3. My Nomad's gone. They've got the Force. We're in the trash. Pass the turn. 1 card left in their hand, though. And it took double Plow Force to get this far. This is where it's good to play 8 tutors plus 4 copies of the actual payout. I got 11 insane draws here. Come on, deck. Shit. I guess I'll attack for 3. Opponent is hyped that this is happening. My plan is to fetch Dryad Arbor in the end step if nothing else weird happens to change that. Every turn the game goes, though, favors them. They have inevitability here. That was my window to punch something through. Wow! 3 Swords to Plowshares already. That's a lot of that shit. Okay, now I'm in a lot of trouble. I'm still winning the damage race by a lot, but that can swing easily. Like if Tamiyo flips, I'm simply not racing damage at all anymore. Caracas. This is the 4th Swords to Plowshares. There was white in the pool, and then they changed their mind. And I'm fetching Dryad Arbor for the beats. I don't need to worry about Arbor dying because Quirion Ranger can pick it up. Come on, big draws. Hate my life. The even Spring Heart Nantuko here just represents a ton of power and toughness. I'm going to play out one of my fetch lands and hold the other. And I'm not going to fetch because I want Nantuko to be insane if I draw it. If you bestow Spring Heart Nantuko onto Dryad Arbor, then every time you copy Dryad Arbor counts as a landfall trigger and triggers the Nantuko again. I can get a Dryad Arbor for every 2 mana I spend every turn, and with Gaia's Cradle that can actually create problems. Okay, Prismatic Ending, my Ranger, nothing to be done about that. That's the white mana they represented last turn. And they've tapped out of blue here, which is interesting. Okay, basically out of permanence at this point. Come on, deck. How about a good card? Okay. The Sandbag worked. Bestow onto Dryad Arbor. Windswept Heath. I am just going to make the 1/1 right now because I'm not doing anything with all this extra mana and stuff. And if they don't smell what's going on, I can, in the end step, make a bunch more Dryad Arbors. None of that solves the sweeper, and none of that solves the flip Tamiyo. If they just start plussing Tamiyo, oh god, they picked up Tamiyo. They have a sweeper. Well, good job. In that case, I'll just let the sweeper resolve, and Spring Heart Nantuko will be in play. It'll fall off the bestow. Unless this is Wrath, then it's just fucking gone. Oh yeah, it's Wrath. Just get me out of here. Take me to the nearest garbage pile. Last card in hand is Tamiyo again. Alright, we're back to this. Do I continue to hold fetch lands in case I draw exactly Spring Heart Nantuko? I think so. Punished. And we're way behind now. Wrath of the Sky is just phenomenal. Even if that was Supreme Verdict or any other thing, the Nantuko would have stuck around. I fetched twice in the end step. I'm still attacking for 3. And there's no emergency button in this build, like the natural order being able to suddenly like hoof and attack them for 8. Not going to happen. Tameo is finally flipped. If they could pick up Wrath of the Skies at any point, then I can't actually win. Time to thin out my deck. I'll hold 1 back. All right, cool. That was a few too many good removal spells. That was what, like 5 spot removal spells, Force of Will, and then a Wrath. Disgusting. Okay. I want Endurance just for its ability to jump in and cause problems. Allosaurus Shepherd is good. Delighted Halfling is good. Sylvan Safekeeper is good. Uh-oh, all my cards are good. Birchlore Ranger encourages me to overextend. Mana Dorks in general are actually pretty bad versus sweeper decks. I'm probably going to back off several of those. Then Quirion Ranger also better with Mana Dorks, but I still have a lot of them. This might be an Elvish Herder matchup. Okay, do I want to cut a Ranger or a Llanowar? I think it's a Ranger. Yeah, this sucks. Tough matchup. Here we go. This is multiple Sheps I will keep. Nadu plus the ability to target a bunch of times. Tropical Island Allosaurus Shepherd is the play. And I just have to hope their hand is 0 or 1 removal spells and a ton of counters. White mana, already dangerous. Nadu. I'm going to play Windswept Heath to hide the Cradle. And I'll play Backup Shepherd. Attack for 1. And pass the turn. Probably fetch Dryad Arbor in the end step. And try to win next turn. Plateau Plains. That could be 2 removal spells. Fetch for Arbor. Go to my turn. Guy's Cradle. Blue-green. Mana. Nadu. Herder. This doesn't win. It does draw me 1 card, though. If I flip a Cradle here, I might actually win. We give Shepherd... Ooh. Well, what if I were to Chord of Calling for Nomad? Might actually win here. This is uncounterable. Nomad. Yes, Mad. Now this feels like a combo deck. All right, got Misty Rainforest. Flipped another Nomad. Nantuko. My next land really starts doing it. Chord. There's a land. I'm going to fetch and play the Nantuko. I think I want to bestow it onto Allosaurus Shepherd. I think I have enough targets to keep the party going, but if that missed, okay, there we go. I'll keep the untapped Guy's Cradle. I am doing the thing. Okay, the problem here, if it is to be believed to be a problem, is that if I have to pass the turn, I can lose to a Wrath. So I'm not going to pass the turn. I have 7 floating. I floated it first in case I flip another Cradle. 7's enough to keep things happening. There's another Nantuko. I'll just play that. Do I want to bestow it? If I cast Endurance and then bestow onto Endurance, I have 2 mana left. Okay. I'm going to cast Endurance. Target myself. Get all those lands back in there. Those juicy little lands. Bestow onto Endurance. And then Sylvan Safekeeper. I have infinite loop now. Or near infinite loop. I need to hit 1 more land before it's infinite. Okay. Now we're off. It's just demonstrating this on Magic Online is going to be a pain. Especially the way that the client stacks the bugs. I'm going to try to just find Emrakul naturally. But in paper, you can demonstrate that you have infinite. You just have to respond to one of these triggers by sacking all your lands. Okay. Do I want to fetch? Kind of think so. Just get these fetchables out of here. This is just for Magic Online time considerations. In real life, you don't need or want to fetch. And courting for Emrakul doesn't work, even though I can do that easily, because I don't get the extra turn, which is part of the plan. I'm out of fetchables, so that Misty Rainforest is just a Misty Rainforest. There's no Yavimaya in this deck, the way there was in the modern build. I found another Nantuko. I can cast that. Just make sure I can never whiff. Not that I could whiff anyway. Oh, wait. Is it making a new pile of bugs that have been targeted? Did we do it? I'm just trying for science. Okay. It seems like it does make a new pile of targeted bugs. Thank you, Magic Online, for solving that, if true. Nope, these bugs have already been targeted. Never mind. Nobody knows what's happening anymore. Choose a guy's cradle to keep. All right, we found a cradle. Easily casting Emrakul from here. Just gotta find her. Is she in my hand already? No. All right. And another Nantuko. There's 12 cards left in my deck. Come on now. Oh, forgot to float with cradle. Broke my own rule. Missed out on a million mana. All right, I'll float this time. 34 in the pool. Emrakul, where are you? I need you, my beloved. Okay, so decline. This is the one that's on endurance. I think I am going to copy an endurance here just to make sure my thing can keep going. Oh, this is going to be awful. All right, I'm only going to sack lands that tap for mana. Should probably sack Guy's Cradle first, actually. Okay, now we're flipping again. This is so horrible on this interface. I love Magic Online, but this is actually just miserable to do. Abject misery. Oh, Emrakul's in my hand. Okay, Emrakul's in my hand. I can pass priority on these things. Opponent asked, would you like me to scoop? I don't need you to anymore. We got there. Okay. And I don't even need Emrakul to resolve if they have something crazy like Mindbreak Trap. It just doesn't matter, because I have lethal elsewhere. Okay. Boy, caramba. Yeah, this tough on Magic Online. That takes 1 second, and in paper, you just announce what you're doing, and it's a demonstrated loop. Okay. I will submit my deck. Off we go. This one, only one land. It has Shepherd, which is one of the better cards I could have. I will keep this. They mulled to 6 and started on Tamiyo. Scary stuff. Okay. No longer immediately dead to Swords to Plowshares. And I'm leading on Llanowar Elves. They're not going to force will that. If they have removal, I'd almost prefer it. Hit that to my Allosaurus Shepherd. And I can play Shepherd on the turn I want to do stuff anyway. Well, pre-combat Brainstorm. Not interested in that clue token. That feels like they were just digging for the white source or the removal spell and forgot about the onboard thing, which happens. No big deal. But now they can rebuy that Prismatic Ending anytime. I don't think I can play out the Shepherd this turn. I'm going to play Springheart and Antuco, and I'll pass with that. If this stays in play, like this is the type of thing that might not be threatening enough for them to immediately rebuy the removal spell on, but they would do on Shepherd or Nomad. And if this does stay in play, lands become rituals that get Chord of Calling going faster. And lands are my best draw anyway, so I might as well make a line that sets me up to do the thing I want to do anyway. Tamiyo plus. Oh no, a Prismatic Ending from hand. Didn't even have to reach for the graveyard. Tough beats. Tropical Island. I could just cast Nadu here. If they have Force Blue card, they have to use it. If they minus Tamiyo to get ending. Alright. What can I do? I can't Zenith for Dryad Arbor either off Chord of Calling this turn because Nomad is white. Alright, I'm going to play Nadu. And this is big enough to attack Tamiyo, which means they might be incentivized to get the Prismatic Ending out of the graveyard and remove it. If that's true, it buys me a bunch of turns from Tamiyo going ultimate, and I get to flip a card for Nadu. If they just have Swords to Plowshares from their hand, great job. But they didn't. They did have to reach for the Prismatic Ending. All right, Nadu, flip a good one. Endurance. All right, well, that does stop Tamiyo next time. The next grab. Okay, here we go. Windswept Heath, pretty good. Do like having extra lands. The Shep, the Nomad, pass. Or I could Shep and leave up Endurance. I actually think that's better. Because Nomad plays out extra hard into Wrath of the Skies, if that's what they have. And Endurance both pressures Tamiyo and stops them from grabbing the thing from the graveyard. And it's a body in play next turn for Chord of Calling, where Nomad is free on the Chord turn. Played a Tundra, tutored for Tundra with Lorien, and then played one. Okay. Yeeted the Tamiyo. I'm gonna cast Endurance. They did know about this from the Nadu trigger. I wonder if they just couldn't play around it, or if they're setting up like a Supreme Verdict here. Like Wrath of the Skies for 3. Okay, Lorien Revealed's fine. They've already made their land drop. Unless they play Solitude, I think I'm going off here. Or no, there's one other thing they could do, which is force the Nomad. Well, I'll play Nomad, see if that gets in. It did. All right. That means Ranger is free. Chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get the dude. And we got the GGs in the chat. And they're not making me play it out again. Thank you for the content, opponent. They were in the chat. They did offer to scoop to the loop, and they just wanted to know how much I wanted to show for the channel. And then they scooped this game. Appreciate you. On to the next round.
We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league.
I'm on the play in round 4 and got one of these cursed hands with Gaia's Cradle in it. The deck plays 19 lands, 4 of them are Gaia's Cradle and 1 of them is Dryad Arbor, so this is kind of a 14 land deck, which is something you do have to consider when you register a deck like this. Old Elves was like that too. Gonna mulligan. Much better hand. The flip side is you get like the 10 mana dorks or whatever we're playing, so you don't need that many lands in an opening hand. I think I'm gonna bottom Endurance and just hope that they're not Reanimator. If this was a 7, it would be a nice bonus that I have this if they are Reanimator, but it's not a 7, and we have to make the decision of live in fear of the possibility of our opponent being a very specific archetype, or keep all the good cards for our own deck. I'm going to keep all the good cards for my own deck. Opponent's got 7 cards, kind of a show-off if you ask me, but that's okay. I'll just play with the 6 I have. Cool thing about going Trop Delighted Halfling is I could be a blue deck. I'm getting reanimated. Oh, Fatal Push, that's fine. Compared to the things that could have happened there. Rip to Savannah, happy to see it. And I'll play Springheart Nantuko and pass. If opponent is dialed into the Legacy metagame right now, then they know they don't need to worry about counterspells anymore, though Halfling Trop might be something to worry about. Psychic Frog, that's not Bowmaster. We're in business. This means I get... Oh. Wow. Well, there's that. So, do I win right now? It's very close. I guess not, because the Shepherd makes the Chord uncounterable, but Nadu is counterable. Right, fetch. Tropical Island. Shep. And this is the Dark Ritual effect I was talking about. I can already Chord for 3, and it's uncounterable. I could just fire a Nadu into play and make them deal with the first one, but that's bad for my combo. There's no sequence where I can get the Nomad first and then play Nadu. Just not how the card works. But the good news is I'm not worried about much. Like Frog can hit me, that's fine. They have to get a card in their graveyard to jump it. Okay. Chord for Endurance is a nice little stopgap here, especially if they commit multiple cards to making the Reanimate happen. This is extra fun because I was kind of thinking about Chord for Endurance just as a combat trick anyway, and now I'm forced into doing it. And they tap both their black mana, so I don't think they're going to Fatal Push this Allosaurus Shepherd and then counter my spell. We got a in the chat, PFFFFFFF. Emergency Brainstorm. I don't even know what we're looking for at this point. What if I just put something like Elvish Herder into play and then died to the Archon? Would that be funny? Is that good content? Okay, yeeted their graveyard. They did not jump the Frog in response, which they could have done. But I guess it doesn't matter because my only untapped creature has reach. And now I'd like to draw a way to target my Nadu. That's not that. But putting Nadu into play is also pretty good. Here's this. Would you like to counter it? JK, I'm messing with you. You can't. Okay, I have enough bodies now that I can eat a Psychic Frog in combat. If they could set up another round of reanimation, that would be mildly annoying, but I could still go over the top of it with one Chord of Calling drawn. Even Zenith gets me Herder, and I could start poking on the slow. Reanimating Troll, you got it. I have enough blockers. I can block it. Now they're at 13, and Psychic Frog is smaller than Nadu. I can just bash. I'd prefer to just draw a combo button, though. The Shep. Not a combo button. Noble Hierarch. Should I sandbag this other Shep? I think so. Nadu's going to attack for 4. The race is on. But what are they going to do? What am I worried about? If they get an Archon into play, the Shepherd's gone anyway. If I draw Gaia's Cradle or Chord of Calling, it's better for this to be in play. Yeah, I'll just play this. Okay, tenuous. I'm ahead, but a well-placed removal spell could flip it for me, but a good draw could flip it for them. I don't know. This is kind of a card drawing contest at this point. They didn't jump the frog, so I'll block, block, block. 3, 4. They can make it 5. Yeah, I'll just pile up these dinguses, take 6, make sure frog goes. Discarding Daze. Yeah, if they have some discards plus a removal spell, the frog will survive, but I'll get a Nadu trigger. I can't imagine that this is where you want to place your removal anyway. I think you need to kill Nadu. A Petty Theft targeting Endurance. Okay. Flip to Noble Hierarch. Get the Endurance back. And then my 2 bugs die. That's okay. And Tameo. Okay, they're all in over there. They are pushing damage. Come on, big draw. Chord of Calling. Misty Rainforest does generate a bunch of dopes. I'm going to attack with the Nadu. Oh, shit. I was supposed to play the other Noble Hierarch first. I just missed a damage. That was actually terrible. In this tight race, where their deck plays Reanimate. Certainly. Okay, they blocked anyway. We got them. Played around it. Didn't need that extra point of damage. Noble Hierarch. I'll play this fetch land, which can generate enough blockers to absorb a troll. I can cast Endurance, who's still uncounterable. Maybe I was supposed to do that on my turn so they can't jump the frog. The frog doesn't beat Endurance in combat anyway, though. Okay, they're just jumping the frog. Okay. Well, I'll cast Endurance. Put that Daze back into your deck. Brainstorm. Okay. Looking for something. Fatal Push doesn't kill Endurance here. A Petty Theft style effect would push the frog through the Endurance, and they'd get to draw another card. I will simply block, and I'm going to let the troll through. I'm at 7. Now they have to discard whatever this card is if they want their frog to survive, and it doesn't kill Endurance either way. And not interested in the frog anymore. That's kind of scary, but also makes sense, because it's not going to get much bigger this game, and they might not be able to jump it again. They are just dead on this backswing, though, if they don't do something. I'm attacking for 12 with onboard tricks. They can block Nadu, fetch Dryad Arbor, which also makes bug. Okay, that doesn't really help. I am just going to attack with all of my creatures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 creatures attacking. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 through the Brazen Borrower. And I can block Troll if they have a removal spell. I am exactly dead to Troll if they have... Okay. If they had something like Bowmaster, but they don't. But that would cost mana, then they don't have a blocker. Alright, got him for Xaxes. Cool. Good game. That was fun. Okay, we're playing against Blue-Black Frog Reanimator. This is a matchup where I want all my Endurance, all my Plows, just boarding into mid-range Magic cards. This is a big sideboard, though, and not really sure how far to go with it. If I cut the Emrakul, then I don't have an infinite anymore, but do I need an infinite versus this deck? They're not going to have a sweeper. Or I've seen... No, that's not true. I've seen Toxic Delusion lists. Okay, so I probably do need to actually go. Yeah, this gets really tough once you're on the fair plan, but I guess if I'm on the fair plan, is Nomad actually better than Herder if I'm on the slow fair plan? Herder's uncounterable with Shep, which is something I plan on doing. Herder's also green for Endurance. And obviously, if I have Nadu and one of these permanents in play, I'd strongly prefer it to be Nomads, but thinking about the overall package here, does this make any sense to cut a Nomad? I don't think so. I think I want to high roll them. If I'm leaving in all the Shepherds, then Having the way to cash out the Uro sounds reasonable. Or Uro, Nadu, the different blue-green one busted creature. Am I shaving Emrakul here? I think so. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go into turtle up mode. If I can Swords to Plowshare some creatures and stuff, and then get some stuff going, I think I'll be able to figure it out. Okay, this hand's fine. Springheart Nantuko, fair Nantuko, as printed, as Garfield intended. Makes me happy in a lot of matchups. Blue to Delta pass. Another Nantuko. I have Garfield's Blessing today. In-step fetch. Are we in the sewer? Are we entombing? Are we pushing? I hope this is push. Shit. We might be dead. Okay, there's Archon. I have 4 plows in my deck, so even if this Archon comes into play, I have the option of, or the ability to top deck out of it. They've seen Endurance in my main deck. Sad. Unpunished. Okay. That's going to mess me up pretty good. I'm going to discard Nomad and Cradle, so I don't think I'm going to have 2 creatures in play ever. I'm going to try to draw Swords to Plowshares right now, and then probably concede if I don't. Nope. Alright. I'm not going to try to get through this. Unsatisfying magic, but that's why that deck's really good. There's no graveyard hate in my sideboard that I didn't bring in, and they're not a Mindbreak Trap deck. Force of Vigor does kill Animate Dead, but that's only half, or even less than half. It's like 4 and 3, and if they sideboard at all against that package, they cut Animate Deads first. So it attacks less than half of their things, of their Reanimate payoffs, and no other cards in their deck. Not interested. Okay, I've got Endurance in this hand. I'm also on the play, so I get a turn to do stuff before I'm just roasted. I'm going to play Savannah Aquarian Ranger. If they have Wasteland, I can pick up the Savannah from the Ranger. They mull to 6. It's been a long time since Aquarian Ranger was a format staple. And a big part of playing the Elves deck back in the day, and as part of this deck now, is just getting people with onboard tricks. There's fewer of them without Wirewood Symbiote in the deck. You can set up basically locks where your opponent cannot interact with anything you're doing. We don't quite do that in this build. Nomad. Am I worried about Tamiyo? Or am I holding the Swords to Plowshares? I think I'm going to play Cradle, Nomad, and then Zenith for 1. And if they daze this, that's a daze they don't have. And if they don't daze it, I'm getting Shep, and they can't daze anything. Okay, I just need to come up with a blue source, and then I'm going off through counter magic next turn. Blue source is kind of a big ask, though. Making a clue. Without Emrakul in my deck to shred too, the Tamiyo Plus is actually pretty hard to win the game through. I still have Allosaurus Shepherd activation as a mana sink. Yeah, that kills Tamiyo this turn, if I get there. 3, 4, 5. Almost there. How about I just draw a Tropical Island off the tippity top, and we get out of here. Tamiyo flips. Tamiyo Plus. They have a Wasteland. It's going to kill Gaia's Cradle. I can't save that one. That was a big setback, not going to lie. Now I need a blue land and another mana source before the game is over. Uh-oh. I don't think I play out the second Shepherd. Yeah, I'm just, like, kind of in the garbage here to this Tamiyo. My hand is just so ready to beat a random creature or a big reanimate effect, and that they're just flipping Tamiyo on turn 2 instead. A troll cycled for a swamp. Explosives for X equals 1. Holy heckin' smokes, I am deceased. That does also kill Tamiyo if they bust it anytime soon, though. Oh my god. Alright, well, died to Wasteland, which is something that can happen in Magic the Gathering, obviously. Yeah, they probably just plus Tamiyo and pass with their 2 mana up, and then I'm just hard locked. This was also part of the experience playing Elves back in the day. I have not forgotten this, where your opponent just like kills your Cradle, plows your mana dork, has a sweeper, and then you're not playing. We saw a taste of it versus the Jeskai match earlier. Onder, Blue to Delta. I need them to spaz out and blow the explosives before they Tamiyo, but it seems like they know what their card does. Oh my god. Alright, you win. Tough beats. On to the final round. I'm on the draw in the final round. Positive record on the line. No lands here. Not even the fake lands that don't work. Actual no lands. Here we go. I got lands and spells. I'm going to bottom one of the Land Wars here. Opponent has also mulled to 6. A Plains. That might be good news. I don't even know. Bad news for Allosaurus Shepherd, which I now have 2 of. I think I have to fetch Basic Forest here. Death and Taxes is kind of back. And I'd hate to go Plow Wasteland, not play the game here. It didn't have the Plow. Dodge the Wasteland. Umezawa's Jitte. Are we actually playing Magic in 2010? Because that's how it feels right now. Fond memories of this era. Okay, so I can go Shep, Ranger, Cradle for 3, untap Elves with Ranger. I can Zenith for 3 this turn. If I want to put Gaia's Cradle out in front of Wasteland like that, I could also just play out 2 creatures and have a big next turn. The problem with Zenith is I'm not doing anything with it. I don't have a second Zenith, second Chord, or half of the combo yet. I would be at the mercy of the top of the deck from there. You can't Zenith a bestowed creature out. Okay, I think I'm going to cast a bunch of creatures this turn. And I'm going to get Tropical Island, just in case I top deck Nadu next turn. Quarian Ranger, Shepherd. I guess I should have led on Shepherd in case this is like blue-white Stoneblade, but I didn't. Okay, please don't play Wrath of this, guys. I have seen Wrath in the sideboard of Death and Taxes. I haven't seen it main deck. I'm hoping that that holds, because wow, am I dead if they do that right now. Oh, they revealed Yorion. I didn't even see that. I didn't get a pop-up notification. Yeah, this is very clearly Death and Taxes. Look at all these cards I got. The Ranger is at least 1 flip with Nadu next turn, if I get to untap with these resources still intact. Felia is a big part of the Death and Taxes package these days. That is a creature with flash. So if they just pass here, I have to be aware of the possibility of a creature jumping in, picking up the Jitte, then chewing up my squad. Flicker Wisp. Okay, so are we just going to untap the Wasteland with that? Untap the Plains with that. Sure. The Plains comes back. Big draw. Not a big draw. I guess I just Zenith for Nadu here. That can block Flicker Wisp. And I do get a flip this turn. I could also just attack for lethal, and they have to block. How about that? Does that sound like a reasonable thing to do? These are all elves. 4 times 5 is 20. I'm going to attack. If they have a Source of Plowshares, I'm going to be tapped out, shields down. If they don't, they're dead. Buff the squad. Sad. Okay. That does happen. Might have gone a little hard in the paint there. I will have 1 creature in play next turn. Did my best. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. Yeah, I'll have 1 creature in play and no Gaia's Cradle. Yeah, maybe that was a huge beating, and I deserve it. If I get Nadu there instead, what happens? They attack into Nadu. I block, or no, they plow Nadu. Nadu flips, and then I still get Jitted. Yeah, I don't know if there was a solution to that. Just needed them not to have plow. Cradle's gone. They should definitely kill Llanowar Elf here. Oh, Allosaurus Shepherd. I wasn't worried about that one. If they leave the Elf and the Llanowar in play, I get to flip Nadu out, and then maybe I'm still playing. If they try to leave a counter on Jitte to be clever, I hope to punish that immediately. Okay, they went after the wrong one. I needed that mana off that elf more than I needed the ability to pick up lands. Okay, fetch. There are white cards in my deck. I'm gonna get Savannah, and I'm gonna Zenith for Nadu. I don't have a Reclamation Sage in my deck, or a Viridian Shaman to kill the Jitte. But they can attack with Wisp and then kill my board, but I get a Nadu flip off it. This deck also plays 4 Caracas, bunch of Solitudes, bunch of Plows. They could just clear Nadu and laugh their way to the bank. But I'd like to hope that maybe their cards just are random shit that doesn't help. I have to block. It's not getting better if I don't. So at least remove the creature that's holding the Jitte. I Ganjo. Alright, so Jitte doesn't get counters this turn. That's fine. Springheart Nantuko goes to my hand. Nadu dies. Yeah, that was interesting. So they valued Flicker Wisp over clearing my board. I don't think I can punish this. It's just old school Jitte gaming. That was not what I was looking for. All I can really do here is just put more shitters into play that die to... Oh, I can bestow. That keeps my Llanowar Elf alive. Okay, bestow onto the elf. Now I can attack for 2. Secret haste. Dryad Arbor. Make a people. Attack for 2, put them to 3. Yep, nothing to do here except fire shitters into the void and hope that we can get these last 3 points done. Caracas, they drew that this turn, or else I think it would have bounced Nadu last turn, rather than what they did do. So the 2 cards in hand were also in their hand last turn. They missed their land drop last turn, so that's 2 spells in their hand. If they kill Llanowar Elf, the Springheart Nantuko falls off and stays a relevant combat object. I actually have 3 damage here, no matter how they spend their Jitte counters. I'm out of basics. Yeah, I only play 1 basic. It's a real tough beat, because getting the insect there would have mattered. Actual creature removal and a blocker. Okay, I no longer have lethal, no matter how they spread their Jitte counters. They would have had to gain life to stay alive if they just had nothing. Moving Jitte onto the first strike creature. And mow down my squad. Okay. Listening to Umezawa's Jitte with elves like it's 2010. What a delight. Okay, Swords of Plowshare is coming in. Force of Vigor is a maybe. Endurance is a no. I want 1 so I can go infinite. Force of Vigor is a maybe. The Shepherds are kind of bad. I mean, as a mana sink, I wonder if that game actually goes better for me if I don't take the swing, but I don't think it does, because like I identified, if they have plow there, they just plow Nadu and they're in the Jitte game, and swinging for lethal, putting them into a spot where maybe I can scrap the last few points over. That works better for me. A good chance they're going to have Wrath of the Skies after board. Collector Oof could be useful. I think I like that more than Force of Vigor, because they have Aether Vials and stuff too. Do I need Allosaurus Shepherd as a mana sink, or is it just irrelevant versus this deck? That's really close. You're in the maybe pile. Okay, I think I want 1 Shepherd still in here. The ability to tutor that, 8 ways to tutor that, and if I just have a bunch of mana and a board full of creatures, it is a viable threat. Okay, let's go. Death and Taxes was a laugher matchup for Elves back in the day, but that doesn't mean that you just automatically win when you play it. I have the fun of Shepherd. I have no tutors. I have lots of mana. I have an Nantuko. I will keep this. This might be regrettable, but I think my hit density is really high. And now that I know they have that White Orchid Jagoff, I'm going to not fetch my basic. Plains Giver. Okay. Windswept Heath, just what I wanted to draw. Savannah, Bestow. Back for 2. You're at 18, bring the beats. Wasteland. I will just pick up whatever they target with that, if that's what's happening. Alright, no mana spent. Giver didn't attack. Misty Rainforest, trigger. I am going to make a Quarian Ranger. And if they flash in Felia, that beats my creature because of protection. What a surprise! Who could have known? I'm going to fetch here. And I'm going to get Dryad Arbor. Just add more creatures to the board in ways that I can. The Quarian Ranger copies get buffed by Allosaurus Shepherd. That's a nice little bonus. If I draw Cradle and just am able to send a big attack in, that's a way forward. They can attack and flicker out tokens, and they're just gone. They can attack and flicker out this Ranger, then the Nantuko falls off where it can be plowed. Delny, Streetwise Lookout. Creatures you control with power 2 or less can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. If an ability of a creature you control with power 2 or less triggers an additional time. Okay. So Felia gets to exile 2 things. Could just mop up all my tokens. This is a fun curve against exactly what I'm doing. Goodbye, tokens. I'll miss you. Can't block. Can block, but I'm not going to. Can't block effectively. Okay, big draw. One of my tutors, something to do. Collector Oof. That almost looks like a useful card. It is a 2/2, which doesn't matter. Collector Oof. Allosaurus Shepherd. The basic land is in my freaking hand, so even if they do have the thing that forces it into play, it's just off. Yeah, that's another part of playing these non-brainstorm green decks. when you're doing your thing, it looks very cool, but when you do something like draw 3 lands after keeping a hand that just needed one more action spell, or you draw the basic land after specifically saying, I'm not going to fetch my basic because it's better in my deck in this matchup, those things can all go wrong for you. Here they can target my token and Quirion Ranger with Felia on attack. Okay. They can just kill my lands anyway, but lands are not what I'm needing here. Kind of want Dryad Arbor in play. White Orchid Phantom. And, you know, instead of... This triggers twice, Jesus. Alright, well, I'll untap this creature and pick up Dryad Arbor. And now instead of tutoring a basic and getting a token, I don't do any of that because I drew my one outer, or my one of. I'd love to use the ability, but there's nothing in there. I miss Brainstorm. This deck looked fun for a while, but having played it, I reminded myself why I stopped playing this deck and started playing Brainstorm. I played Elves for years, dedicated Elf pilot through the whole early Star City circuit and everything, and then I registered Brainstorm one time and won the event immediately. So that changed some stuff. Okay, I guess I can fetch here. I'll get Tropical Island. Make an insect. Can't make 2. Can't make a Quirion Ranger. They still no good blocks. And Wasteland finishes me off. I get Quirion Ranger back. But it doesn't matter. Noble Hierarch. That card might have text on it. Okay, Forest. Make a bug. Noble Hierarch. I still don't have any good attacks because they have 2 2/2s back. Even if I attack with a 3/3 and they double block, like Giver of Runes will just target the one that I'm trying to kill, and then my creature dies and theirs doesn't. In all seriousness, though, like Gaia's Cradle giving me 2 5/5s on this board is a reasonable place to be. Chord of Calling, whipping out a Nadu is good. Zenith is solid. Felia has just full vindicated hundreds of permanents this game. There's no way this Delny is good. Like, I just don't believe this card is good, but it's been phenomenal this game. Endurance. Okay, that's big enough to cause problems for my opponent. Springheart Nantuko trigger. Here I can attack, but should I? I think I'm going to. Like, worst case scenario here, I Ganjo this. Best case scenario, they take 3, and mid case scenario, they just block with Delny and give it pro green. But they sense a trap, and they did not play into it. For Schadenport, that's fucked up. Now I have to play Endurance before combat. Skyclave Apparition, that might be worse. It exiles 2 things. Oh, this Delny is so stupid. What if, hypothetically speaking, just in our imaginations, I drew one of the 500 payoff cards in my deck instead of another land? All right, I'll cast Endurance here because I'm not going to be able to in a moment. Target nobody. There are 7 cards in my graveyard. I have Threshold, and they're all lands. Every one of them. No spells this game. Not allowed. And Endurance can't block their creatures anyway because of Delny. What a fucking mess. And I'm dead next turn. And I can be just chump blocking. I'm not going to, though. My ability to chump block completely obliterated by Felia. It's turn 6. They played it on turn 2. It's exiled 2 things every time, and 7 of them were tokens. So this Felia has straight up vindicated 7 things. And now they're going off all the way. They're exiling their own Skyclave Apparition, which on return will exile 2 other things. They phased out Endurance, which is not a relevant combat object. Oh, this is good, actually. Now I have blue and green things to block with. Sick. They might have gotten a little too clever there. I'm still way behind and in a bunch of trouble, but I at least was given a good block where I didn't have one, if they just didn't do that. Any little mistake matters here. If Felia dies here, that's so good for me. Okay, they gave it pro green, which does not save it. It kills my 2 bugs. And do they remember what's what? Okay, they do. Endurance is going to target nothing, and then Skyclave is going to get rid of probably Endurance and Nantuko. Okay, basically nothing I can do left. Chord of Calling is my only good draw. Green Sun Zenith. That only gets 1-drops here. I can get a 2 with Quirion Ranger's help. What's in the deck? You could grab an N2 then die. Collector Roof's already in play, and they've played 0 artifacts this game after soloing me with on game 1. Okay. That was fun to watch. Sucks I'm on the wrong side of it, though. Alrighty. A 2-3 record with this Nadu Elves deck. We got to experience the full range here. We got to experience games where we just go off and flip our whole deck and have infinite everything from seemingly low resources while it's all uncounterable. We got to grind out kind of nickel and dime beats versus control decks with our 1/1s and 2-power creatures and Springheart and Tuco that gets left behind. If they respect the combo too much, then they end up just dying to the creatures get left behind. I used to describe Elves as Storm if you always have Young Pyromancer in play. Just your combo pieces are also 1/1s. If the opponent is just a grip full of counter magic, you could just attack. We got to do a little bit of that. We also got to experience the games where your opponent casts 2 Swords to Plowshares, and then you don't have anything. We experienced the games where you draw Emrakul, where you need a good target. We experienced the games where you draw cards like Basic Forest or Dryad Arbor that you basically never want to draw in games of Magic, and there's no Brainstorm, no Ponder, nothing coming to save you. I probably should have mulliganed more aggressively. In at least the last game, I kept a 7 that didn't have a payoff, but had a ton of mana, was pretty good against some of the stuff their deck did. They ended up having the full insane nut goldfish that you dream about when you put the cards in the deck together. And it ended up being awesome for them. But it fell off as I drew 5 lands in a row. I got to relive the old days, the best and the worst of them. I don't think I could personally register a deck like this in a tournament. It's very cool, it's very powerful, but I would rather be the person with Brainstorm and Fatal Push in my deck than the person hoping my opponent doesn't cast Fatal Push and never draws a Brainstorm to fix whatever situation they're in. We also got a taste of what it's like playing old school Elves versus Reanimator. It's horrible, by the way. We have 4 endurances, doesn't even matter. We could stack more. You can always play more surgical extractions. You could put Leyline of the Void in if you want to do that. Reanimator is popular right now. Both the mid-range Dimir Frog version and full combo versions are back. Obviously tuned for your metagame. I'm a little disappointed with the result, but also not surprised. This all feels so familiar. Brendan, thank you for the opportunity to play this. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.